everybody, this is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com, and I am doing a project today that is kind of a first time ever project for me, but it's a project that I've really had fun with, and for a special occasion I may make a few more of these. Now I also have to tell you it was a little bit more time consuming in some ways, but that was a lot of it and was in thinking out the design and those kind of things. I am participating in a paper bag swap over at artandsassy.ning.com. Now, it's not a paper bag regular swap, it's a paper bag card swap. So the idea is to turn a paper bag into a card. And this is something that I hadn't seen until a month or two ago. I saw one when Cheri over at Art and Sassy, who's hosting the swap, posted her video of it, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. And then I've also since then seen a beautiful tutorial by my one of my design team sisters over at 3 Girl Jam, Scrappin' Abby, and she is Scrappin'-Abby here on YouTube, and I'll put a link down to her too. And she recently did a tutorial on a nice bag. So I, for this particular swap, just used a plain lunch bag. Now you can use any kind of paper bag for this, just depends on the dimensions that you want. For this particular swap, we were supposed to keep our dimensions about 5 by 5 inches, but you could make smaller or you could make larger depending on which paper bag you purchased. Now this is just a plain old lunch sack that I just picked up at the dollar store. I think it was a package of maybe 40 and for $1, and that's what I'm using. But you also can get colored sacks at various places, including I know Michael's has a Celebrate It section. When I went looking, I found them in the it's in the party goods section. They have some gorgeous ones, but for this one I just used a plain paper bag. And I'll just set this aside because I'm going to show you in a minute how I did the card. I'm using some scrappy tape. From the TPC Studio, I'm using the Slice of Life rubber clean stamps, and I got these on clearance several months ago. And this is the first chance I've really taken to use them, and I'm using 4 different stamps from that, and I'll show you as we go along what those are. From Close to My Heart, I'm using this Indian Corn Blue ink, and I just use that as an ink edger. And then all my stamping was done in Memento Tuxedo Black. The paper collection that I use is this Stella and Rose, and this one is the Hattie papers from the Stella and Rose collection from my Mind's Eye. And then I had pulled 2 different colors of cardstock here. This was the Spice Market and the Jewel. I ran out of the yellow that I wanted from the Spice Market, and when I pulled out my Jewel pack, lo and behold, it's almost exactly, probably is exactly the exact same yellow. And then I also grabbed this ice blue card. Now you'll see when I'm all done, this one kind of took me by surprise. I thought I would be choosing a truer blue, but this one was a good match. I was really surprised. So I pulled those. I'm also using from Studio G, I'm using my glitter glue. Now I've done a lot of the prep work, but I just want to show you the basic design of this card. To make it a 5 by 5 card, the first thing that I did is I folded up the top, this part of the bag, just folded the flat back on itself, and then I took my bone folder and I scored it really well. Okay, and that's going to form my card. Now this is all obviously bigger than 5 by 5, so I just set it up on my paper trimmer and trimmed off the excess on the top. So that's how I formed the bag itself. Now this bag has a lot of real estate, you will see, and so when you do the card, it's going to be really, you could, if you wanted to, and some people probably do, put some tape here on these flaps. I decided not to, because you could also include some other little goodies in there maybe if you were sending the card. Now obviously you're not going to throw this in a regular envelope, you're going to have to use a larger envelope, but maybe say you were doing it for a kid, you could put some stickers or something in there. So for me, I decided not to seal this up. If I was going just for a flat look, then you could seal it up, but you could also use this as a little mini where you could leave it open, and instead of putting something on the inside like what I will show you in a minute, you could actually put a little mini album in there. Wouldn't that be a fun fun, cute, maybe birthday present or something. So to start with, I just took, as you see, you can see where I trimmed off my card. And let's start with the back, because one of the requirements is that the bag has to be decorated. So I took the yellow and I inked around the edge, and this one's cut at 4 3/4 inch square, and then this one would be 4 1/2 inches square, and this is from that really pretty paper from the Stella and Rose collection. Now I'm probably slipping off camera, I apologize, but I am going to be very, very generous with my adhesive, because I'm just a little leery on how well the papers will stick to the craft paper bag. Probably if I was using a regular, like something that wasn't quite so rough, maybe it would stick a little bit better, and it probably is going to stick just fine, but I'm just being overly cautious. And that is all I'm doing to the back, just like that. So now let's turn it over to the front. So the first thing I did is I used 4 different papers from this, and I think by the time it was said and done, let's see, I used that 6x6 papers. I probably used probably 4, maybe 6 or 7 sheets to do 4 cards. So then I took this yellow, and you see this is off a little bit, and that's just because I wanted this to be completely covered down there and just kind of run off, so it was okay to me that it was off. And so this one originally was 4 3/4 by 2, and so this one was going to be 4 3/4 by about 1 3/4, but I was trying to use up my scraps, and so it's not quite that wide, but as you'll see when we put it together, it won't show, and so it doesn't matter. So again, I'm going to be very, very generous with my adhesive and stick that on, and just kind of line it up just like I would with a card. Now the next thing that I've done is this is where I've used that score tape that I had. Now if I wanted to, I could close this here, but this actually gives even more real estate, so that if whoever I sent this card to, or maybe if it's somebody in the swap that's getting it, if they wanted to, they could slip another little, maybe some tags in there or some gift cards or something. You can just see the possibilities with this type of a card, how fun that is. And then this piece was made to fit right on there. Again, it's the 4 1/2 inches wide, and I believe it was 3 inches tall for the yellow, and 2 3/4 inches tall for the pattern paper. Again, being super, super generous with my adhesive. And that's going to go down just like that. Now, one of the requirements for the swap was that it, first of all, be fully decorated, but then the second thing was that you placed a card on the inside. Now, like I said, if you wanted to, you could make like a bifold card. I chose to make a card that was the 4 1/2, I believe, inches tall, and then I went just a little bit taller than the 5 inches. I went about 5 1/4. I did 5 1/2, and it was a little bit too tall. There was too much sticking up. But because I wanted it to coordinate, I took that with the yellow and I inked around the edge, and then I took some of my other scraps that I had left over and I just put it across the bottom. And this is the first stamp from the set that I used, and this was just a little flourish that was at the bottom. And then this is the ribbon, and I just took my tiny attacher and just attached it just like that, and it will slide right inside there. Now, like I said, this blue is not a blue I would have picked, but when I put it up against these blues, it was a perfect match, so I was really happy with that. It was just a good color match for that. So there we have the inside of the card. Now we just have to finish out the outside. So I took more of my yellow paper, and one of the sayings was, take it easy with a nice cold glass of lemonade. This was a kind of a just because card. No, it wasn't supposed to be birthday or anniversary or Father's Day or anything special like that. It's just a just because card, which I think is so fun. And this one is actually the one I'm making for me. I am making an extra one so that I can do something with it. So I'm just going to put that up right like that. And again, I inked around the edge of that. And then I took my spellbinders, and I forgot to mention that. And I'll have to put, if you go to my blog, once this is posted, you'll get to see which spellbinders I used, but it's this scalloped one, or this scalloped circle. And I stamped out the lemonade and the glass, and I've put that on foam tape because I want to give that a little bit of extra pop. Again, I inked around the edge with that same blue ink that I've been using, and then I want to kind of off center that so that I'm not covering up any of my words. And again, I don't care if I'm hanging over the edge here because it doesn't matter because I'm not putting it in any particular envelope. So there we have that. And then I thought to just a little extra touch, and I'm only doing this because I didn't paper piece. It's just a simple black and white stamp, but I decided I wanted to take my glitter glue, and I'm only doing it to the ice cubes in both the glass and on the picture, because I just thought it added this nice extra touch here. You can hear my cat in the background. I don't know what he's up to, but I have a feeling he's about to get in trouble. So there we have our card. Now, like I said, if you wanted to, you could make some extra tags to stick in here. I think for me, I'm just going to leave it just like this for now, and then whoever gets my swap cards can do whatever they would like with it. They can put whatever they would like in there, or if I send it, I'll decide what I want to do in there. I may just leave it. This would also be something fun, like for if you did a Mother's Day card, you could put a picture of the grandkids in there. Wouldn't that be fun? So there's so many possibilities, and like I said, there's a lot of real estate. If you're a long letter writer, you could really write a nice little long note there because it's front and back. You could even, if you were doing pictures or something, you could put a photo on the back here, or like you said, you could turn this into a little book. So there's so many possibilities with this fun little card. So thanks so much for stopping by today, and remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.